Hey guys, for today's episode I'm going to be installing the Ramair unit that's made for the Abarth 500 engine. It's pretty much exactly the same kind of fitment and everything, so there's not going to be anything strange or unusual that has to be done. I'd probably even calculate that this will take probably about half an hour to an hour to install. Probably about half an hour to an hour to install. There's really nothing special or difficult about it, I should say. It's a very straightforward mod. So let's get into actually changing out the unit from the Abarth to the Ramair unit. So you'll start off with removing the clip that's here. I have a kind of like a Toyota Jubilee clip here, just because it's a little bit easier to take on or off and stuff like that. You'll remove that, and let's see. You will remove the recirc piping off of it, and that's it. That's pretty much the whole how you remove the whole unit. So let's get to that. Okay, so it's not as straightforward as I was hoping it would. It's very straightforward, frankly, because as you can tell at the back of it here, I don't have a little stand where it comes up for it to kind of like prop up against at the back here. However, the intake plenum is an Abarth one, so I'm not sure why that would be the case. Could it have been snapped off? I don't know. There is some weird stuff on it. Maybe it was snapped off at some point, I don't know. But some trickery and wizardry will need to be involved here. Potentially swapping out the plenum again back to what I had before, which is kind of an inconvenience because that means I have to pop off the fuel lines and everything like that, and it's a big job. Well, let's see what I can figure out. I've resorted to the instructions. I can admit defeat when it comes to installing kind of stuff on cars and stuff like that, of course, because I'm not exactly someone who knows a lot, so make sure to read the instructions because they will tell you how to put on this correctly. Now this bit I don't get. The Jubilee is going on, and as soon as you tighten it too hard, it slides off the actual filter. And I'm not quite sure whether that's because this sealing part of it is bad or what, or it's a bad manufacturing process. So that's it installed. I'm using a Toyota Jubilee clip here because it seems to be this kind of ring around the actual filter seems to just squeeze off once you tighten it too hard with the Jubilee clip provided. So I'm going to start it up and listen to it for a few minutes. Again, it is sitting kind of funny, but that will be fixed eventually. I think it does sound a bit more throaty. You can hear the blow-off valve whooshing there as well. So maybe it's kind of hard to tell the difference. But yeah, the whole reason was I wanted to have the intake in a different place. So that way it's not taking in any bad air, because as you can tell with the original, the air is coming in on this side, which is bad for the Panda because Panda's air intake is here. That's still a bad thing, but I'm going to be getting a bonnet scoop to go on this. So there will be a bonnet scoop going in here, hence why I took off the fire retardant material here. But I'm really looking forward to getting the hood scoop. I'm going to give this a little spin and see what it sounds like on the road. I'm going to do like a little demonstration of driving the car around with the stock intake versus the new intake. So continuing on with the Ramair unit, I'm going to be installing actually a hood scoop as well, and this is so that a lot of air can get into the correct places in the engine to cool it down and to give it the air it needs for the actual engine to run. I got myself a Toyota Hilux intake. I couldn't really find anything that would look good, I guess. So I ended up with a Toyota Hilux one because I think they kind of like have a good mix between style and how much air they let in and stuff like that. So yeah, let's start marking up everything and start cutting. This is going to be my only bonnet that I have, so woof. So here's the actual scoop. I've been measuring out like the center lines and stuff on the scoop so I can measure it all up on the bonnet, as you could tell with the sellotape. I've already knocked in these two middle kind of like rear screw holes. I've already knocked them into the bonnet, and I'm actually going to go and drill them out now. Hopefully that's the correct place. And yeah, you know, actually you can see I kind of started to drill a little bit because I wanted to make a pilot hole. One here, and where's it gone? One in there. You can probably slightly tell, but yeah, I have my reference points now. I feel it looks pretty good. I know the whole rule of like check twice, cut once. Well, that's unexpected. A drill bit from Little broke. Two. Alright, I'm gonna have to go a size bigger. The first speed holes have been made, gladly without a pickaxe. So now I'm going to be trying to see if I can find a line where these bolts are going to be now that I have kind of like a line for that. Basically just map out the rest of the bolts. The problem is the ones at the front here, don't know if you can see, but the problem is at the front they're raised, so it's not 100% flush with the curvature of the bonnet or anything like that, so it will be sticking up. So what I need to do is cut like bigger holes for these. So I managed to get the two back screws in the middle there into place. They're a little offset, but it's not too big a deal. Now it's just a matter of getting the other edges. I need this to be flat on the bonnet now, so I can start measuring up the rest of them. So what I'm going to have to do is start cutting out the shape of the actual intake. So I have my angle grinder, and let's see how this is going to turn out. That seems pretty reasonable. Just need to knock out these little edges here. So now to try and figure out how to bend this part downwards, or maybe I'll just cut it off entirely. Yeah, I'm probably going to cut this whole piece off, just to cut the whole way across, and then I'll start to etch off more and more as required. And there we have it, a little letterbox. So that's kind of the notches made out. Now I'm going to make the rest of the holes. I've tiger sealed all the way around. Not the most spectacular job here. There's a piece, I think like some air got caught, or a little chunk of old residue got caught. Overall, like, I'm pretty happy with it. It's not very noticeable, but it's all in there permanently. So what I've done here is, you can't even see in there, but what I did is there was still a flat piece of metal that was going across the whole kind of like way. Cut it partially here and bent it upwards, so that way it's kind of redirecting the air downwards. So on the ceiling of the intake there is actually like a big slab of metal that's holding it upwards. What I will be doing next is I'm letting this settle in and kind of keeping the Tiger seal pressed down. But once this is all settled in and everything and permanent, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get expanding foam, and I'm going to spray the inside of it behind the metal plate that I have in there, and I'll be able to use that foam to kind of shape like a flow of air into the intake, so that way it's, you know, there isn't just nothing here that's actually doing nothing to it. It's actually redirecting to the intake here. So I'm super happy with it. It actually looks really cool. I mean, obviously without the crap on it, but it looks great. You'll see it in a while.